Hello, mate！ 欢迎收听 Excuse 英国腔。
I guess they call it Grammys in the USA. So you're the Melody Award winner. Once I met him I tortured him. I said, what is this Taiwan place? Tell me about it. The best place on the planet. Kori, when I tell you I work every day. You gotta come. And I said, okay. So I said, okay, let's do it. Buy the tickets. So we bought the tickets and we've been here ever since. And my parents my mom wants me to come back home, and I feel like this is my home. And I don't think I ever want to go back home because Taiwan supports music, and until you don't know that feeling, there's nothing like it. So I am very grateful, and the people of Taiwan, they say the heart of Taiwan, they're the most kindest, generous people on the planet Earth. So thank you all. Owa ni Taiwan.
How long have you not been to a live jazz performance? If you're fond of it, there's one Canadian singer in Taiwan you probably don't want to miss. Her name is Kori Wray. When she was as young as 3 years old, she started to fall in love for singing. Today, except for scat singing and heavy metal, you could put it this way, that she can sing from genre to genre. When she sings jazz, one might compare her to late American jazz singer Ella Fitzgerald. When she sings pop songs, you might associate her with Christina Aguilera. She also actively sings many others, funk, soul, and country music, for example. Due to this pandemic, live performance became a daydream, even no busker can be seen. But as we are gradually walking out of it, Kori Wray could be another reason to hope for our reopening. Hi, Kori. How are you?
Hi, how are you? I'm doing fantastic. Thank you.
Fantastic. Firstly, how did you become a singer in the first place?
Well, according to my mom, my dad, and my sister, I was 3 years old, and my sister had an old tape recorder, and I just out of the blue started singing ABCs. And at that age, they thought, well, this is weird because she shouldn't know this yet. But I did because I liked to sing the songs with Sesame Street. So that's kind of where it started, I guess.
So without anyone telling you, you simply do it yourself, and people were surprised that, gosh, is she a genius?
Yeah, a genius. I don't know about that. And then my parents always had musical toys, and so I had a small little organ, and we had a piano, and my dad would have music. My dad would have music night, so he would bring out his guitar and we'd all sing together and stuff. Not that he knew what he was doing. I think he thought he knew what he was doing, but it was fun. It was all good.
So you've got this environment in the first place, and they seem to quite nurture what you loved, right?
Well, they didn't actually respect me to be a singer or expect it until I won a competition. And I won many along the way, but this was the real deal. And when they said yes, I almost fell over because I didn't expect. First of all, my dad was like, you have to be a doctor, a nurse, or a lawyer, and that's your choices.
Really?
And anything else is not, acceptable.
Just a hobby.
Because it's a hobby, and forget it. And I just wouldn't let go of it. And my parents would get mad because I'd start practicing and they said, it's bedtime. The neighbors want you to be quiet. I said, well, this is when my voice is maturing. When I need to be practicing. So they finally gave into it. But, since I was 3, I went to school, and in kindergarten, you weren't allowed to be in choir. You had to wait till you were in grade 2. So I'd sit outside of the door and I would listen to the teacher teach. And then they'd find me outside the door singing through the door. And or at the church. Because
Yeah.
my mom would lose me. Where is she? Oh, she's up with the pastor. She's singing. So they already knew where to find me. I was always with somebody that was with music rather than probably where I should have been, but that's all right.
That was wonderful. So you showed your early interest. And when was the age where your parents started to realize you became very serious about it, and it's time to tell their daughter, hey, you should try something different, you should be a doctor, and you should not keep playing music? Was there a time where they started to talk about this with you?
Well, no, they would still allow me to do it as a hobby. So they would let me play ukulele. I played stand-up bass, organ, glockenspiel. I'd go for my lessons. I'd sing in the choir. So they always allowed me to do that portion of it. But as far as like a profession, well, that was probably when I turned 20. Before then, they would just say, oh, my daughter, she won another competition. Oh, she's going to the Junos this week. Let's drive her to, to go do the show. But they didn't understand it. And they actually turned down an opportunity that I was given. I think, don't quote me, I was age 11 and I was offered to be taken on by David Foster. Wow. And David Foster, if you know who he is one of the best people to have run into your life. And we were fortunate because Tommy Banks and David Foster and that whole guy club, or I don't know, musical arrangement of superstars all came to my city. And so I didn't get to see them in their prime, just basically, by watching it back. But that, that made a difference for our city. That's why our jazz club in our city is probably one of the most well-known across the world.
So you were in Canada, right? You were raised in Canada.
Raised in Canada, born and raised, and I lived across 2 provinces. So my mom was a nurse, and she was also writes like the bills and stuff for the government and helps out and gives their advice. To this day, they still ask her for her advice because they really respect her opinion. Yeah. And my dad, oh gosh, what didn't my dad do? Pretty much everything. But when my grandma and grandpa passed away, he took over a farm. So I'd have to go back and forth between 2 provinces to see my parents. So that was really hard at a young age to not have your family unit together at all times.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so did you sing with horses, with animals on the farm?
Oh no, if you saw a bug outside, except for deer or like an owl or something like that, you knew where to find me. I would be inside of the house because I was scared to go outside.
Okay. And so I'm quite interested because you seem to like singing at the early stage. What is the most enjoyable thing about singing to you?
I can't even put my finger on it. It's something I'm born with. It's always been united in my spirit. Maybe because my mom and my dad, enjoyed it so much and played it so often. My sister also, she played ukulele when she was younger. However, she never got the bug for music. I call her the home and garden network because she's like way opposite to me. And I was like, okay, I'm like probably BET. And, that's what you can call me because I'm out of the box. And this is where my heart is. And then it's just the people you meet along the way. And I had one of my mentors who had passed away unexpectedly said, I've already done it all. I've worked with Prince. I've worked with Michael Jackson. I've sang on every stage imaginable. Wow. And I see something in you and I don't want a dime. I'm going to tell you what songs to learn. I'm going to tell you how to sing them. And we would go and do shows and people would be like, okay, don't stop. How do we get you to not stop? If we did karaoke for just for fun, they were like, yeah, don't put us behind these people. And we're like, we're just having fun. Like, this isn't a competition. What's going on? But it was magical. And he played drums too. And he could actually sing higher than Michael Jackson. And I was jealous because it was crazy how he could hit notes like that. And, but I thank God every day that he came into my life, because without him, Taiwan for me probably wouldn't be manageable, because I should have like wrote notes, because he told me everything I need to know.
So he could be called as one of the most influential people to you in your career, right?
Absolutely. And I miss him dearly. And if he was here, he'd be right next to us playing for sure.
Wow. And what genres of music sings your influence, I guess, by many? Do you sing, and who are your greatest influencers aside from him?
Well, I sing a little bit of everything. I just started in opera, taking some lessons from an opera teacher here in Taiwan. And in my very first lesson, she taught me more than I've ever known in my life. I was breathing wrong.
Wow.
How does a singer breathe wrong her entire life? And she taught me one thing and empowered me. I'll never forget her, because that was just the biggest eye opener. So she's also one of my bigger influences. But as far as genres, I'd say easier to answer the question would to say I don't sing ska and I don't sing heavy metal. However, if you put me to the task and you wanted me to, I probably could, because I and my husband and my husband's family say you must know everything and you must know the roots of all music in order for you to be the best singer. If you don't aspire to push yourself and you think you're something that you're not, you're never going to get to the place you need to be. You have to be on top of yourself every day, wanting to be the best you can. And even if you already think you are or you're not, get there, practice and put your time in. When the moment comes, you'll be ready at least.
Are there people whom you admire the most?
Well, I am dying to meet Shaka Khan, and she just released her single Again, I'm Every Woman, and I'm totally jealous that I have not been asked to sing with her. But she's one of them, and I didn't realize that she was actually a jazz vocalist herself in the beginning. So that was crazy. Doing my research into her profession. Dawn Robinson of En Vogue and Lucy Pearl. She's the one that they let go from En Vogue. She's the one that had the best vocals, and we're actually really good friends. And I can't hit what she hits, but with, she's teaching me techniques and I'm learning from her, as I go along. It's not an everyday thing, but, if I have questions, I message her and say, okay, what could I be doing differently? Oh, try this. Who else could I say? Of course, Whitney Houston, Ella Fitzgerald. Wow. I'm trying to manage her scats. She's crazy. Oh gosh, there's another guy. I can't remember his name.
It can go on and on, right?
See his face. Stevie Wonder. I went to his concert, and he's blind. He can't see me, but I brought 7 suitcases of clothing with me because I wanted to look my best for the person that I've loved my entire life with his music. And I almost made it to the front row because I fell all the way down the stadium. But that's not the way you're supposed to go on stage. Prince is awesome. He was an inspiration. He's changed his identity so many times. Madonna, for being a businesswoman. She's her creativity. I can't even talk. Being creative, being a boss.
Yeah.
and saying, you have to evolve. That's a lesson I learned from her. And Earth, Wind and Fire, they're, one of the bands that I enjoy because if you really, really listen to them back in the day, integrity was everything. And the bass player many times got told, if you don't keep the integrity of this band up, you won't be in it. So he kept the integrity up. And before Maurice passed away, they had picked another singer personally that they thought would be the best person to, keep Earth, Wind and Fire going as long as it can. And then secretly, because my parents tortured me on our drives to go visit my dad when we went to the farm, would be Elvis Presley.
Oh,
and I
classic.
love Elvis. He's gorgeous. Who doesn't like Elvis? And ABBA. I think I know every ABBA song backwards and forwards. But it all comes down to my band, to Soul Train Band, which my husband invented, and I'm so glad he did. It's the only Soul Train band that is registered and known across the world. But every single song in 1,134 episodes of the show, not on repeat in, 36 years? I don't want to say the wrong amount of time. 35-year history. If it wasn't for Don Cornelius, we wouldn't know all these people. We wouldn't know Tina Marie. We wouldn't know the Jackson 5.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people got their start on that show, and it was so life-changing for me. But my very first person would be Karen Carpenter. And I've been told I sound like her. My husband he was in Taiwan and he won the saxophone competition. We spoke of this earlier, and he got put onto stage with Steve Eaton, and history kind of melded itself, and Steve Eaton did a performance with us. And I said, I want to do the Karen Carpenter version of it, but I want you to sing it and play it with us. And we did that 2 years ago live. It was the first time in the history of his career as a songwriter performer that he did that version live with the female vocalist. And then he said, I think you might have sang it better than Karen. I said, oh, can you put that in writing? Because that's like the biggest honor of my life.
That was absolutely wonderful. Kori, I really felt that you had that innate musicality at the early age. And along the journey, you have been transcending yourself. And now you're in Taiwan. It could be quite interesting to know, your journey from Canada to your now stardom in Taiwan. Can you just briefly walk us through, the stages of change in you from Canada to Taiwan?
Well, I didn't expect to come to Taiwan, but my husband said, he's been in and out of Taiwan for almost close to 20 years. He's worked in Macau and several different places and opened up a lot of places. And he just kept saying Taiwan, Taiwan, Taiwan. I said, what the heck is this Taiwan place? And he says, we got to go. And right before we had decided to come, we had a personal family problem that had happened, and it was not the right timing for us. So we had to postpone it, but we had Musa for short, who is a producer here in Taiwan. He's also, I guess they call it Grammys in the USA. So here, the Melody Award winner. Once I met him, I tortured him. I said, what is this Taiwan place? Tell me about it. The best place on the planet, Kori. When I tell you I work every day. You gotta come. And I said, okay. So I said, okay, let's do it. Buy the tickets. So we bought the tickets, and we've been here ever since. And my parents my mom wants me to come back home, and I feel like this is my home. And I don't think I ever want to go back home, because Taiwan supports music, and it's until you don't know that feeling, there's nothing like it. So I am very grateful. And the people of Taiwan, they say the heart of Taiwan, they're the most kindest, generous people on the planet Earth. So I thank you all. Oh, I need Taiwan.
Well, I need Taiwan. The fact is, I think Taiwan is quite experimental. When we are faced with diversity, I think many people want to try. And I think your genre is quite edgy and sometimes experimental, novelty to them.
Well, they wanted me when I came here, sing this song, sing this song. I said, no, that's not me. And I'm not cookie cutter. I never have been. And even my husband, oh, you have to, this is what they expect. I said, I don't care. I don't feel this type of music. And I just have this feeling. God's giving me a feeling that if we go with the Soul Train and we introduce it to Taiwan, I think they will really love it. And how I knew that I was correct was right before the shutdown, we had a couple of performances, and I was trying to explain Soul Train, the band and the dancing and the excitement of you can be close to us, and at the same time you can be dancing in this train line. And they did it. And I was shocked. And I said, oh, okay, this is like the best moment ever, because they wanted to do the Soul Train band. And I was like, okay, we got them in their heart. So that was for me, that was my eye-open experience. And, and every performance that we've done, if we hadn't been shut down, I think we would be in doing Magi Square or doing something like that at this time, doing bigger performances, because people were starting to come out in a huge capacity. So there's a want for it, and it's a very difficult music to play. So you got to have patience, and you have to have the right people on your team. And so far, my team, who is my husband, Dino Dominelli, on saxophone. I have Caesar, who is on guitar. I have Caleb, who plays guitar and piano. Jocelyn is my piano and singer. Alex is also on drums, and Paul on drums. Sometimes you have to trade people out. And Anton Bello, my friend on the bass, I push him so hard. I say, okay, really feel it right now. Right now, you mean I can? I said, yes, you can do whatever you want, because this is, it's all about the bass. So we have a good time, and, and the people we work with, we love, like they're our family. So I'm grateful to them.
And when did you have that unforgettable moment in your career in Taiwan? I'm sure when you first came, you rejected a lot of proposals and you insisted on your own way, and that kind of got you some performances. And then you said right before lockdown, you had an eye-opening moment. So throughout these years in Taiwan, was there any moment you found Taiwan to be an absolute place for you to stay on and on?
I had to do my time. I sat here for almost a year with absolutely no phone calls coming my way. So with that time, I studied my behind off and learned every single song list that every singer sings here in Taiwan, and studied it. And before I left, I sat down with my friend from Taiwan that had moved to my city and said, please talk out every single word and teach me how to say the tones, because I don't want to insult people with in their language saying the words wrong. So Teresa Tang, the moon represents my heart. She sat down and taught me. There's about 7 songs that we wrote down. Shelly Hands. These are the people that you need to know when you come to Taiwan, and you need to know how to sing it in Chinese. And okay, no problem. Give it to me. I'll learn it. No issue for me. And I wouldn't say that I'm only going to do this type of music. That's no, absolutely not. I will do any type of music that anybody would love to hire me for.
Yeah.
I'm open to it. Absolutely. I just had a feeling that I had to introduce also Soul Train Band into the mix.
Soul Train Band. The name itself suggests it's like constantly traveling and you can hop on and off, right? Anytime.
Hopefully you hang on, and if you want to go for the best ride, hang on to the caboose.
Fasten your seatbelt, by the way.
That's right, yeah.
And keep your mask on at all times.
Absolutely, yes, please.
Lovely. I really think you've got all these lovely moments, and that will continue on and on after we ease our restrictions. So let's kind of roll back to earlier day, when you had your album of country music. And I already played one in my previous episode, which was lovely. Shall we play a part of them, and later on you can explain the story behind it and tell us what made you feel so inspired, and just a lot of stories. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to start with Temporarily Insane. After listening to it, I'm not just temporarily insane, I'm insane at all times.
That's funny.
I found it to be very mesmerizing. Can you tell us the story behind it?
Well, that song was written by Christina Aguilera from the US, so the pop star, and given to Carrie Underwood, who I think might have just won American Idol at that point in time. And she had turned it down. So my producer, Jim Purdy, said, here's the song. And I said, okay, what are you trying to say? Like I'm insane or something? But I said, no, I love it. And I had a rule though, before we left. I said, if I come join with you, because I had to do audition after audition after audition. So I was actually at my workplace and I saw this competition in front of, because we have a big stage right in front of my work. And then I said, girls, watch my counter. I have to do something. They're like, yeah, I know what you're doing. Okay. So see you later, Kori. So I ran up, quickly auditioned. And then the lady said, can you come back to our office at 7 p.m.? And I said, okay, bring your parents with you. Oh, okay.
Parents?
So bring my parents with me. So I said, okay. This might be big. And so I went to my dad, and you have to understand, my dad is, well, at the time was probably 300 pounds and 6'6" tall, and his hands are 3 times the size of mine. Okay. And then there's my mother that, nope is her answer for anything. And we went into the office meeting and we met with the producer, and my dad said yes. And my mom said yes. And I said, I guess I'm saying yes. Wow. 3 yeses. This is great. Yeah. It was like being on the show, where they give you, Simon gives you all of the check marks, right? So I said,
exactly.
Okay, no worries. Let's do this. So we had to go and perform. But when they came, they rented out a big, how would you call it here? Auditorium, I guess. And every single company like Sony, Virgin, record, like all the record companies, Disney, movie companies, catwalk modeling associations, like everybody was there, and there was classes going on for the parents to take, and then the kids were put in, you know, in all age groups, like I mean from like 2 years old to like, I don't know, you could be 70 if you wanted to be, it didn't matter. And you had to qualify in all of the areas. So I couldn't just be a vocalist. I had to go in and say, okay, I model, I, you know, can dance. I said it's only on the speakers, but I can dance. Sure. I'm like not ballet trained or anything.
Got to versatile.
You know, like I just dance because I like to move, and, you know, and then sing. And then I had to go in front of all of the different agents and perform. And then they picked me for the showcase. And then you went back in the day, they had call lists. So you had to go look at the piece of paper. It wasn't virtual quite then, and see if your name was on the list. And I was asked by 9 record companies and modeling agencies and Disney to come join them. And then I had to make the choice. Wow. So I said, okay, I'm from Alberta, and I know it's a very much based around country music. I guess that's probably my best choice. So I was my personal choice was between Virgin Records and was with Nashville. And I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to do this because I have a feeling that I'll get more support this way. And it didn't actually work out that way, but it's okay. It's fine. The experience that I had in the 10 days going down to Nashville is something I could never learn anywhere else. I mean, they taught me so much, and I met so many people just in that in the recording studio. It was, and I didn't know who they were. And then I looked up their bios afterwards, and I almost fainted because I was singing. My backup singer was Juan Wyans, and if you know anything about the Winans, BB and CC Winans are the most hugest gospel singers in the planet. And Juan is the 3rd generation, and now his wife and him have a television show on NBC, and they're growing this musical, you know, family, and basing the gospel music scene. And I had Larry Hansen from Alabama. So he was on playing guitar. Dino Paston, also same name as my husband. He produced records for India Arie, and he played saxophone and B3 organ. Roger Eaton, who we got to go and watch afterwards in the famous Rydell Hall, and watch the television show and see how it was all done in Nashville. I had John Hendrich on steel guitar, a person that worked with the Joe Diffie band. Fiddle, I had Steve Thomas, who was in Barbara Mandrell's band, and Sean Fisher, who plays drums for Trisha Yearwood. So if you guys don't know who Trisha is, well, she's on the Food Network here, so she should know Trisha. But her husband is Garth Brooks. So, and then of course, Drea Renee was my other backup vocalist, and she taught me that in order to get a good recording, you have to go get McDonald's French fries, let them cool down, and then the coating on top of the French fries is what helps your voice go to another level. So really? I learned some tricks from my girl Drea. So it was a opportunity of a lifetime, and we cut the disc there, and then came back home, and then we toured that, and they played it, and I still get my residuals, which is great. It took off more in the States than it did in Canada, unfortunately, because there was more American people on my album. I was only considered 25% of the Canadian status, and we didn't know that back then. So
it was a huge team.
Yeah, it was, and a great one. And I'm ever so grateful for the opportunity. And if I could do it again, I'm on board, guys. Call.
Yeah, it was beautifully recorded, and I think, thank God, we can play it again and again now on the internet. And the other track you also gave this gift to the world is We Are One.
Let's do it.
I really love that element of jazz, and you really can groove along the melody. Tell us about the story behind, please.
Well, Beverly and Maze are back from the Soul Train era as well, and very well known, but we thought we would put a different spin on it. So the drummer is actually my brother-in-law, Sandro Dominelli, on drums. And so he was playing that. And the bass player, he's so funny. He's like one of the best slap bass players that I know, other than the most famous one, which would be Prakash. But so he put that flair, because you have to, it's just not something you can learn. You have to feel it in your heart. And that made the song incredible to me. And then I had Andrew Glover on keyboards. So it was a small team actually on this one for production. And then I had a friend mix it together for me. And I just, it talked to me. It was a different type of song. Not something I'm used to doing, not in a key I'm used to singing things in. But at this point in time, when I was working on this project and putting together my second album, we were touring also, and we had the opportunity to go to Kelowna, BC, and open for Etta James. And this is her, I guess, last performance before she had passed on. So we got to play this song, and we got to play a couple of other songs by another artist known as John Lee Sanders, who used to eat breakfast with Elvis Presley. Oh. So it was quite the journey to meet these people.
Indeed, you met a lot of them.
Well, I don't know if I put myself in the situation, or I pray for it, or it just happens. But when you're in music, you're just naturally gonna gravitate towards other musicians. So it's just gonna happen. I think, I want it. I've always wanted this career. It's taking longer maybe than others, but I don't mind. I'm worth the wait.
Like-minded people gather together, don't you think?
That's right.
Yeah, and I think this song really, I feel so strongly. I don't know, I just listen to it kind of like every day before I go to bed, because it fits so well with the dim lighting, and you can have a sip of wine and just chill and sweet dreams.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
It happened to me, to be honest. I beg your pardon?
I said, I'll pay you later for all your kind words.
It's totally out of my real feelings. So, it's no exaggeration how much I like it.
Thank you.
And so what are your plans as we gradually reopen?
Well, I've also always been interested in television, and back home, actually, even while I was here, they asked me to do interviews, so I was doing them over the same kind of setup, but through video, and do some freelance work that way. But I got into the political realm just for our provincial stuff out in Canada. And I just said, why are you guys supporting these two other individuals when this guy who ran once and you guys loved him to death gave us so much more? He supported music. He put all these programs in place, and their own campaign manager realized, why didn't I think of that? So Dino and I, on the tail end of it, provided all the music. We just, donated it from Dominelli Entertainment and said, here you go, have it, we're at your disposal. We believe in this individual. He didn't win, unfortunately, but from what I hear now, I think a lot of people wish that they had made their decision a lot more wiser. And if we learned anything out of this pandemic, I think we should learn that you can't buy your health, and you have to make sure that you're not just checking a box. You need to know what your candidates stand for and, what they believe in truly, because for this pandemic, if you've got the wrong person in charge, then you're in big trouble. And in some countries, we found that out real quick. So I'm very, very grateful to President Tsai and how safe she's kept us along this journey. Although I'm still scared, I will admit, I am very, very scared to go out myself, but I appreciate the efforts. I personally, they probably don't understand me, go up to the cleaning staff at the MRT and I thank them and say, thank you for cleaning. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for keeping us safe. No, please douse me with alcohol. Do what you got to do to keep us safe, because we don't want Taiwan to be taken over by this horrible, horrific, invisible enemy that we have.
So where can the audience find you as we are about to go back to normal?
Well, we're not sure yet, because we've had things in queue, but they keep extending the date. So continuously we're talking to the venues, and they're talking with us, and they're going to try to put us at the front where, we left off, and try to keep going. So I believe Yuppie Cafe may be one of them that's coming up when we reopen. I believe also Softvo definitely will have our backs. I have my little duo with called Casey and the Sunshine Band. So if you want to see a duo or a trio and not a full band experience, you can come and see us do that as well. We can, whatever you want, just let us know, and maybe with the kindness that you've shown us today, maybe more places will know and understand that we're here, and you can have Soul Train Band wherever you want us.
Indeed. Right.
Yeah.
Before we go, I want to sum up that your passion for music really inspires people. I want to know whether you have any message you want to send to the audience who are listening.
Come out and enjoy yourself. Don't be shy. When you come to a show, especially with Soul Train Band, it's an experience. I want you to leave feeling lively, getting out of your chair, interacting, dancing, having a memorable time, because if I don't see a smile on your face, or I feel that you're not enjoying, well, one, I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to take you out of your chair and put you on stage with me until you have a good time. That's just the way we work. But we would be very sad if we had no one to play to. So the more people that are out, the more fun that we have, and that's just the way we operate. So, you know, when we had a date at Smexy's, so that should be coming up and around again too. So you can come and see it. It's being presented during the daytime as a festival series. So you can come to that and check it out. And they have a really great sound system, and they have an absolutely beautiful venue. I don't know if you've been there. And hey, there's lots of businesses up in the building that you can do what you need to do and hear the music throughout the whole building. So it's a great place to come and see us also. But yeah, just come to KoriWray.com. You can go on Facebook, which is I'm guilty of this. I probably update Facebook more often than the rest of my pages, or Instagram. And there's some surprises coming along. I can't disclose everything because then you won't go to my pages. So if you go to official Kori Wray fan page, you'll have a look, or Soul Train Band, and sign up now, and we will write down the dates that are coming, and we'll let you know if it gets changed. But you know what, if it does, I'm not mad. Let's get down to zero numbers. Taiwan, we can do it. We have to stay together and be united, and that's the most important thing. And then once that happens, let's have the party of your lifetime. And if you come to my show, I will make sure that happens for you.
How lovely, isn't it? Kori Wray, thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity today.
Finally, and this is really important, if you enjoy listening to this channel, please rate a review on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to this from. You may also join its Facebook group if you would like to interact with other fellow listeners. Thanks so much for listening, and please stay safe and well.
Something's happening when we kiss. That chemistry just lifts me off the ground, and suddenly I get silly, giddy, treated. Every time you come and give me, I stand up out of things I never thought I'd say, and the only answer that I got helps me to explain. You make me temporarily insane. Well, I think Freud would have a field day if he were alive. I'm sure that he'd say, in denial when you smile at me. When you're not here, baby, I'm so calm. When you are in, enough goes the bombs.